Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. This is your uncensored match build-up show ahead of the Champions League last 16 tie. PSG versus Liverpool Wednesday night over in Paris. I'm Steve Hoare, joined by Jay Pearson and Leah Bauer for this one. We're going to have a big old chat about all things Paris, Champions League and everything in between. A clash between two of Europe's most informed and best sides. It's fascinating, Jay, like I say, the way the football world works, that Liverpool top this group and they end up playing PSG, who are fantastic now because they had a massive wobble at the start of their Champions League campaign, and then they kind of hit form. The look of the draw, but like Liverpool have got a very, very difficult tie coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah, big time, mate. I mean, do we have to do the show where we cover our eye like this, like that, we're playing PSG? Mate, it's difficult. You don't want this type of tie so early because you want, like, no disrespect to Club Bruges or anything, like, you want that sort of tie for being the reward of finishing first, don't you? We've not got that, and whether UEFA now are looking at it going, maybe we shouldn't have changed the league phase a bit, I don't know, but maybe this is a positive at the end of the day because you've got to beat the best to win this tournament, and they are one of the better teams in the competition that's left, obviously, and let's just see what happens, mate. But no one can say anything like we've not played anybody good on the way to winning this, then, can we? Because, you know, we've not played anybody good in the league apparently. So yeah, so I'm excited, mate, but a little bit nervous. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's a different PSG, Leah, than the last time we faced. Obviously, Jay referenced the Bobby Firmino. That was a PSG team, like, you know, they were going. They were kind of going for the Galacticos, Real Madrid copy. And listen, it worked to an extent. They won a lot of trophies. Didn't quite get over the hump in the Champions League. Got beaten in the final. This one's a different one. It's a younger. They've still spent money and they still got good players. But it feels like under Enrique, they've kind of moved away a little bit from that, you know, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe model, and they're going more towards younger, good players. And so far for Enrique, like, again, since they haven't lost a game since November, and they've been fantastic. It's a very different occasion than that one in 2019.
Yeah, this is exactly what Enrique wanted. Like, you want those goals to come from all over the pitch, and I think I saw that Mbappe was scoring 35% of the goals. But now their biggest goal scorer, Dembele's got 25% of the goals, but he's in the form of his life. So that just shows that the goals are coming from everywhere, which is exactly what you want. For ties in the Champions League, you need options from everywhere. You can't rely on one goal scorer, and that's exactly what they're doing now.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They're unreal now.
I was on Google before, Jay, just looking at like a potential PSG 11. I think there's a couple of nailed on, there's a couple of doubts. So, like, for example, Donnarumma's in goal, fabulous goalkeeper. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Pacho, Mendes, probably, Fabio Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves, who's
unbelievable.
What a player João Neves is. Dembele, it's whether he plays on the wing or up front. But Barcola will play, and then they've got an option between Kvaratskhelia.
I'm so glad you said that.
Well, I can say Kvaratskhelia, I can't say Dubé. I saw the silent letters, but it's probably going to be 11 of those 12. I saw something in L'Equipe this morning saying it's probably going to be Doué, and they're going to have Kvaratskhelia on the bench, which what an option. But I mean, that's a top team. Like, all over the pitch, they've got really good players, and going away first.
Yeah,
Liverpool do have the benefit of Anfield second, and it could be huge. But going to Paris tomorrow against that type of lineup it's a daunting task.
It really is, mate, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a bit of a. I mean, I know they're playing at home, so they'll probably play with that stronger front three. But it wouldn't surprise me because there's times they played with a false nine. So it wouldn't surprise me if they threw that in as a spanner in the
Sometimes that's Dembele.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the way they sort of play against sort of like these teams, they can do that because then it'll give Van Dijk and Konate a bit of an issue of like, well, who do we mark then if they're playing that sort of bit of a false nine with Dembele the way he does? But again, like Leah mentioned the goal record before. What did you say? It was like 40 goals in 10 games.
40 goals, 10 games,
It's unbelievable, that. But again, we've got to think about the level of opposition that they're playing. But it's worrying. Because you look at, like you said before, with Neves and back, all the class players. But Hakimi, hasn't he got a couple of goals the last couple of weeks as well? So they're a threat from everywhere.
Well, actually, they've even got... And if it is that team I mentioned, you might look at someone like off the bench. They've still got Ramos. I think he plays number 9. They've got Lucas Hernandez, good player. Zaire Emery, good player. Like, they've got a real depth of squad now. This is what happens, I suppose, when you don't have the Messis on the $500,000 a week and you know, Kylian Mbappe taking up half of France's GDP to pay his wages. You can afford to build a stronger squad. It was always with PSG, you always looked at the bench and thought, if the big guns don't do it, they haven't got anything. But now it appears under Enrique that they've got real strength and depth as well. They're the top side.
Yeah, it used to look like it was Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, and then everybody else was just behind them. They weren't really that's all they had to offer really. But now it's like you said, there's threat from everywhere. There's goals from everywhere. You don't really know where to look. The wingers are going to be a massive issue for us, and it is a bit nerve-wracking. You don't know what. I've absolutely no idea what's going to happen.
The winger point is key, Jay, in that, I imagine Barcola plays, and then whether it's Dembele out wide with a striker, or if it's Kvaratskhelia or it's Doué. I think if you asked where Liverpool would be most likely to be vulnerable, it's probably out wide. I think we're very compact. Our spine is fantastic of our team.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs, that midfield 3, and is real strong, but we have had issues with wingers a couple of times, and whether it's Barcola, Doué, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, I would imagine Luis Enrique's tactics that when he's been planning this game since they had that game at the weekend, he's probably been thinking, how do we exploit Liverpool's full-backs? I reckon we're going to see a healthy dose of all those lads up against probably Trent and Robbo.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate, because if they would try and play it through the middle, I don't think they win the game. Our midfield will be key against theirs going into this game. And yeah, I expect a lot of width play for them, and they are very, very tricky. And again, it just depends on which Robbo turns up. And again, I love that man to pieces. But obviously, he's come under a bit of scrutiny this year, and there's certain elements of his game that aren't there at the minute, which is a shame, really. But I still think that these types of games, that lad turns up, it's a massive, massive game which he'll love. So, there will be a worry, but that is the main way that they're going to hurt us, because down the middle with the solid Van Dijk and Canate partnership, I mean, that's no disrespect to them because he can get at us, but it is going to be out wide, and I really hope Trent has a really, really good game.
I imagine that might be up against Barcola.
I would say so.
Again, unless they go Kvaratskhelia, who's had success against Liverpool.
But it's just frightening, like any combinations. A bit like us, to be honest. They'll probably be having similar conversations and be saying, what if he plays Diaz? What if he plays Gakpo? The same problems that we have. 2
fantastic attacking sides, for sure. The midfield battle's going to be fascinating, Leah, because my guess is it's going to be, and we'll talk about Liverpool's team later, but if you had to guess, you probably imagine it's going to be a midfield 3 of Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves up against Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai. That's like a real heavyweight clash there. Like,
oh my God,
that's hard to pick. Both have got their strengths, both have got fabulous players. If Liverpool can win that battle in that midfield, away from home in particular, they'll have a great chance. But I think Neves is the key. I think Vitinha and Ruiz are fabulous players, but I think if you can stop Jao Neves and the creativity that he brings, you'll have a real good chance of doing it. I wonder if the manager tries to say to a Szoboszlai or a McAllister, like he's the one you've got to get really tight to. We saw Virgil van Dijk following Phil Foden into gaps and closing that space down. I reckon Arne Slot might have a plan or two for Jao Neves, because if you let him run the game, he'll run the game.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say Jao Neves. I was thinking Vitinha is probably even bigger of a risk. Everything goes through him. You don't get a lot of their attacking play through that, because they're so fluid in their positional play, and it's just everything does go through Vitinha. So I think if you're able to close him down, cut off his options, then I think that's how you win the midfield battle, is just absolutely closing down his options.
Yeah, you can't get these a lot of time on the ball because they're fantastic. It's interesting, Jay, because we haven't really spoken about it yet, but we've looked at the virtues of Paris, the team, the virtues of like Paris, the city. We've had issues there for Liverpool. Don't, obviously with the Champions League final, I know it's a different stadium and stuff, but I think that might play a factor for, at least I know some supporters who just haven't gone. For example, going back to Paris, some are going back. What PSG have got actually their supporters, because actually they're a relatively new club all told. They're not that old in terms of a history of PSG. Yeah. That place can rock. Like they and their away fans will be the same in Anfield in a couple of weeks' time. Like, big atmosphere away from home in Europe. That Parc des Princes is going to be absolutely banging, and Liverpool have to deal with that as well. Not just a very good team, it's going to be a very daunting, intimidating atmosphere for the supporters, but actually for the players as well.
No, big time, mate. And I'll put away the human being factor. Depending on what people like, people are their own people at the end of the day. But I think when they came to Anfield last time, and I remember being in town during the day, and you see them marching through, and they were great. They were in high spirits, but they were like chanting all day. The walk from town to the ground, they were absolutely brilliant with the police escort. There was no issues, but they, like I said, they created that atmosphere, and you felt that at Anfield anyway. But like I said, going away, times that by 3 or 4, and you've got one hell of an atmosphere that you're going to walk into. And listen, these players are used to harsh atmospheres. They've been there, done that. They've worn the t-shirt at the end of the day, and our players won't go in scared, that's for sure. But you've got to manage that. You manage it in those 15-minute periods, don't you? settle down in the first 15, calm the crowd down a little bit. You know, if we can keep ball retention, because I think that'll be the key in this game, it'll quieten the crowd down, and then we can play the game our own way. Because that's what I want to see when we're playing away from home. I want to see us play the way we did at City. Not play the occasion, not play to Everton's tactics, to Villa's tactics, play our game, because it certainly worked at City, and I want to see that again.
It's interesting because we haven't really seen this year. I used to think one of the criticisms of Klopp's Liverpool, and there weren't many because they were fabulous, that they're actually away from home in Europe, in daunting. I think our style of play almost riled the crowds up. There'd be certain games where Roma, for example, now Liverpool won't go through, but it was a daunting atmosphere, and it became a bit of a basketball match. We had City away, which again we won. But it was and even that place was actually quite rocking for a little bit until, as relative as City can do. But, I remember Paul saying that they went to Red Star, and it was just like, wow, these teams get really up for it. I went to the San Siro this year, and although AC Milan scored, Liverpool had the ball all the time after that, and it really settled it and quietened it down. It'd be interesting if lots of Liverpool can do that. It's chalk and cheese. Klopp's football almost encourages the opposition to, because you're going hell to leather, they want to do the same. Slot ball, for lack of a better phrase, it could quieten things down. Because again, I knew firsthand it definitely did that in Milan. It'd be interesting to see if he can do that, because that could be a very good tactic in that place. Yeah,
it's so interesting because it's the heavy metal football, isn't it? And that just goes hand in hand with what you're saying with the atmosphere. But it's a completely new era. Slot has just taken that level of control, that calmness. And like you said, City, perfect. I've never seen those tactics work so well of just kill it. It wasn't the most exciting match you're ever going to watch, but what do you want, results or excitement? Bring the excitement back at Anfield when we can control the atmosphere, when we can turn something over if we have to. But if we don't have to turn something over, then you can enjoy the match, you can sit back, relax, and just enjoy the football on the pitch. But
we'll talk about Liverpool and the team news in a minute, Jay, but it's worth mentioning now, just overall broad picture of we know what PSG are going to do. They are desperate for a win, because they don't want to be having to go to Anfield and looking for a win. That, if they have to go and get a draw, I think they take that, or avoid a heavy defeat. It'll be interesting to see what Slot does, because if this was Rafa Benitez, we'd be going there and looking to end up with a 0 against their name. And if we nick a goal, Sam, but if we draw 0-0, Sam, we'll take them back to Anfield. Yeah. We haven't really seen Arne Slot over two legs yet. We're new to this. It's a new thing for us. We knew if it was Jürgen, it'd be go and play like we play, but nothing really changes. It'll be fascinating to see if Slot does take a more pragmatic approach, because he feels like the type of manager who might be able to do that. It wasn't always the case with Feyenoord, but sometimes he would be able to do that. Do you see any sense of him going, actually we are going to change this. We're going there to be defensively solid. We'll take less risks. We'll defend solidly, and if we even go back to Anfield having lost by the odd goal, we'll take that kind of thing. It'd be fascinating to see what type of game plan he comes up with.
Yeah, I can see it definitely going that way, mate, because we have got we look. Despite what people might say about our fullbacks, we've still got two very, very good fullbacks. You can raise question marks over them and whatever. You can raise question marks over anybody in this football team at some point during the career. But we've still got a very, very solid back five. I rate them both fullbacks very, very highly when we've got possession of that football. So there's still no reason to doubt us in terms of the attacking prowess when we're being attacked on. So it could be a case of we'll just set up and just play defensively if we need to, and like we said before about counter-attack them the way we play football, and we do that very, very well. But like I said before, we control that midfield with the support of Robbo and Trent, who are both very, very good at supporting that midfield, and then it ends up becoming a 5. That can work in our favour, but my worry is you just don't want to do that a lot, because we could be vulnerable to that playing away from home. So that's why I think a lot of people have said, and we said before, didn't we, a draw isn't the worst thing in the world.
Bite your hand off.
It's not the worst thing in the world. But mate, I still believe in our defence. It's why we are where we are right now. Yeah. Well,
again, if you're a neutral, this is the game you'd want to watch tomorrow night, because it's going to be star-studded, and there's big games happening over Europe. We'll talk about them towards the end of the show as well. But if there was one PSG player who you think, you've told me before, they're all good players, but is there anyone specifically you're thinking, I could see him causing us real issues?
Dembele is the obvious answer, but I think
wherever he plays,
Barcola and Trent, I think that's the key thing.
I would agree with that.
And you're looking at all their goals and assists, a lot of them have come through him, and I think Trent's going to have to be possibly his best game of the season.
Yeah, I agree with. I think that battle is done. That you're thinking, I wonder if Liverpool try and come up with a little plan for that one as well. There's only so many things you can do. You can't take everything.
It's screaming out for Bradley on the bench, isn't it? But we just don't have him.
We just haven't got him. Yeah, Trent's gonna have to go 90 and give it his best. Like I say, and it's worth mentioning with Barcola, he could do an hour. And then he can bring Kvaratskhelia on.
Yeah.
Like they have got the options are there for PSG. They're a very good team with it, and they're very good manager. Jay, I always think sometimes that's let PSG down a little bit. They've got a top manager in Enrique. He's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. He knows how to win this competition. He knows how to go far in this competition. He already said, didn't he? Like he's been working on this game for a few days now. They've had a little bit of time. That's a different factor in this one as well. He's one of Europe's elite coaches, and PSG have got him.
So Slot. And that's the good battle.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting battle. And I don't say that just as a joke. I just mean like, well, Slot has got this role at the beginning of the season. Everyone had a bit of question marks. Well, how he's going to cope in the Premier League, and then how's he going to cope in Europe? And I think he's answered those questions very, very well. And it's a good matchup, two not sort of young, they are young managers in terms of their experience and the jobs that they've had. And they're both fantastic managers. And I really respect Luis Enrique. When he got the job at PSG, I thought that's a perfect appointment for the club where they were at that point in time, for the way he was going with his managerial career as well. And like Steve said before, it's sort of like that player now that we all know and loved in those Barcelona teams is now becoming this manager that, he could go on to bigger and better things than PSG. And that's no disrespect to PSG. There's other jobs out there for him in the future because he's a class manager. But it's just going to be so interesting to see how Slot sets up, because like you said before, Steve, this is now a two-legged affair now, and is it a case of, is he the type of person to just go, right, away from home first, and then we'll do it in the second leg? So it's so exciting. Yeah,
absolutely is. We'll talk then after the break about Liverpool's team news, what team we think he'll select, what he should do. I think the big questions are probably up front, who he's going to do what there as well. Before we get there, we're going to go to a quick break. Before that, I've got a trivia question for everyone joining along live, and of course the guys in the chat. Now, this question comes from our friends at LFC History, so if it's wrong, don't blame me. Get on the phone to them. According to their website, Jay and Leah and everyone at home, 5 players have played for Liverpool and PSG. Double agents, they call them on their. Can you name all 5? We'll come back with the answer after this quick break.
Hey you, do you like Liverpool Football Club? Do you love Liverpool signed merchandise? Well, have I got a prize for you this month? It is this absolute beauty. Let's start on the back. Let's show you the front. Yes, 89.90 replica shirt signed by John Barnes. Yes, John Barnes. That shirt can be yours. It's a very simple competition to enter. Head to redmenplus.com, sign up as a legend tier subscriber, and not only will you get full access to all of our amazing suite of content and our exclusive Discord group and discounted and free merchandise, you'll be in the prize draw to win that incredible shirt as well. redmenplus.com, legend tier status. Get on it.
Yes, welcome back. Right, before the break, we asked about the 5 players who've played for Liverpool and PSG. Anyone got any guesses? Leah, go on, you go first. Genie's one of them, yeah. Genie Wijnaldum.
That's the only one I've got.
Well done. Go on, Jay.
So I had Anelka.
Yeah.
Sacco.
Yeah.
Genie, but I had Ngog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm taking a punt on Sissoko.
There you go. 5 out of 5 for Jay.
Because I had the Valencia thing in my brain.
Nicholas Anelka, David Ngog, Mamadou Sakho, Momo Sissoko, Genie Wijnaldum was the answer. Stuart got 4 of them. He didn't get Momo Sissoko in the chat. Loads of people got Genie Wijnaldum, Mamadou Sakho rather. So there you go. That was there's your trivia question. I thought that was a decent little question. Good knowledge, Jay. Well done. You have 2, Leah. You got Genie Wijnaldum. Well done.
Thank you.
You're younger than us. You weren't born when half these were playing for these 2 teams, or you were very, very young.
Keep playing that card, yeah.
Yeah, keep playing.
Play that card forever, man.
Yeah, obviously working until you can't. It goes sooner rather than later. Right, then let's move on to Liverpool. So this is the part where we usually try and pick a team. I'm going to name you 9 players. And I reckon, so Alisson, Robertson, Konate, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, Mo Salah. There's your 9. Guaranteed. They're playing. There's no doubt about it. Those 9 are in. We don't have to mess about. So it's 2 more. I'll come to you first, Leah. So he's got to pick a striker and a left winger. He's got the options of Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, Darwin Nunez, and Diogo Jota. They're the 4. It's any 2 from 4. Where do you think the manager's going to go?
I think Gakpo. I think
Gakpo left.
Yeah, or Diaz. I think.
Or both, or one or the other.
come back to me. I need to have a little
I
think.
think Jota might start this game.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know. I just think, like, I know he needs the minutes and stuff like that. It might be a nice opportunity, but you sort of like throwing him at the deep end with his been in and out of the side. But maybe that's my heart just saying I want to see Jota, because I just love how he plays footy, and I love the way he puts the ball in the back of the net. So I'm biased that way. But I agree with Leah. I think Gakpo plays, but obviously if it's in the middle, then obviously I think Diaz will be on the left. But it's this conversation. Do we see Darwin Núñez? Steve, do you see Darwin Núñez?
Maybe. I think if the plan is to counter attack, then it makes sense.
Yeah. That's the point.
It depends what if Liverpool's plan is to sit deep and counter attack, Núñez makes the most sense out of all of them, because I don't think Jota's a bit too slow on the counter.
Yeah.
Now, Diaz can do that as well, but he isn't as quick as Darwin. If the plan is to press them from the front, then it's Diaz up front and it's Gakpo on the left, I would guess. I struggle to see Diogo Jota starting. I don't see either game plan really. I don't think you're going to see enough of the ball for him. Listen, he's very combative, Diogo Jota, and he absolutely could do it. But I think he's going to go Diaz up front and Gakpo on the left. He's had a break. Obviously, they've had this nice break. With all due respect to Southampton in the weekend, that's a fixture Liverpool should win, even if they have to make 3 or 4 changes at home. I just don't know what the game plan is. I don't think he's going to park a bus at nil.
He's not a park a bus manager.
I think if you're winning 1-0, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if Liverpool scored the first goal, I could see it happening. But I don't know. I just think my guess is Diaz. I think honestly, and I might be nuts saying this, I think I will play Núñez, because I think we are going to have to try and counter attack. And him, that's the one. He's quite good at that. Like, he's rapid, and he more often than not, not always, but he can make good decisions when he's counter attacking.
What do you want to see? Because that's what you think. What do you want to see?
No, I want to see. I think I will start Núñez.
Right.
I think he'll start Diaz.
I think what will be interesting as well, Salah and Mendes, that battle.
Yeah.
And then Mendes is very similar to Trent, and they're great going forward.
Goes walkabout sometimes.
Yeah. So I think you could have the risk of then the defence coming out supporting him, and then that leaves that left-hand side a lot more open. So then I think Gakpo and Diaz, I think it makes the most sense on that kind of thinking, if that system works. Sorry to interrupt you there, because MC with the chat, and I didn't think of this, but you might be right. What about the Man City blueprints? 4 midfielders, 2 number 10s. He doesn't play a striker, so he plays Jones. It worked.
It worked at City.
It worked. Touch wood. It could work again. Then
Is that an option? He could do that? I'll be honest, more fool me. I didn't really consider that, but that is an option. He plays all 4 of his midfielders.
Yeah.
And plays Salah and Diaz as like wingers, and so that basically means Curtis Jones comes in, and him and Szoboszlai is that box.
I'd love to see that. Just see all the Curtis Jones haters, just their heads explode because of that. That'd be brilliant. Mate, there's definitely a world for it, because it's worked. It's raised eyebrows, but it's a tactic that's worked away from home. So why not? But again, it's another conversation to have. I mean, you just can't predict it. Yeah. It's impossible to predict.
I think it's fantastic for Liverpool. They've got so many options available. Yeah. And what we are going to have, I've said this a lot on these shows, there's going to be a strong Liverpool bench. Regardless of who plays, Liverpool are going to have options off this bench, because I do go back to it. Southampton at home isn't the worst fixtures to have in between. You don't want to take them lightly, yard. They've actually played Liverpool quite well in 2 games this season, so you don't want to count any chickens before they hatch. But you can say to these lads, run as fast as you can. We've got options if you're absolutely goose for the weekend, and also there's a nice little recovery Wednesday to Saturday. He's not horrendous for you, so he might go all. I always think if you play all 4 midfielders, you don't really have a sub to make. You know what I mean? Because who you're bringing on. Maybe, to be fair, Endo and Elliott in different roles, but in terms of that, if someone empties the tank, but yeah, that is actually a good suggestion. I didn't think of that. I could actually see him doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a worse run of fixtures, worse congestion fixtures, where they just ran and ran. You look at Szoboszlai, they ran and ran. They can do these 3 games back to back, and then obviously you got the final the weekend after. But
it fits in, doesn't it? Because we said before about the midfield battle, and that's where it's going to be won or lost. So that again,
get an extra man in there.
Yeah, exactly. So
actually, it's
a good shout by
you know what?
Really
you know what, Mr. MC? I think I'm with you. I think I'll do that. I think I've changed my mind. I'm picking you. I'm picking your team. I think I will pick all 4 of them and play Luis Diaz. Diaz is in good form as well, Jay.
He's very good form.
He's had an up here. He had an amazing start to the season, and he had a little bit of a dip by his own standards, and then he was playing centre forward, and he does his best, but he doesn't like it. Yeah. If you ask Luis Diaz where he plays tomorrow night, he would go, please put me on the left-hand side. So Gakpo's only just come back from injury, and he looked all right at the weekend. Over midweek against Newcastle, but when he come off the bench. But Diaz is in good form. I'd be ride the hot hand a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think what he does tomorrow will dictate, obviously, for the following week, because we've got that break with Southampton where we can make those changes. And I think you look at the people that he's going to rest. We'll probably play Saturday. You know, whoever doesn't get a full 90.
I think Quanta might start at right back against Southampton, for example.
Yeah.
For example.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can definitely see
You
that.
know, not to be... I don't want to get too ahead of myself with the league title and all that. I mean, I have privately. I've said...
No, listen, if Liverpool don't win the league title now,
there's something wrong.
Someone's gone massively
Correct.
wrong.
So if you can't enjoy it, just friggin' enjoy
They
it.
can go all in on the Champions League this week.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And this is my point is like... It's not going to happen, but obviously, if you make mistakes, then heaven forbid, there's a draw at the weekend. It's not the worst thing in the world because of obviously next week and you're keeping fresh legs if you want to make loads of changes, because we're very lucky the way these fixtures have landed. Like you said before, there's a full week in between each one game in between where you can afford, you're at home, make some changes. So I think you're right there, mate. I think Kwanzaa probably plays it right back at the weekend, and then you can sort of have a bit of a play around with your tactics on against Southampton. So we're in a nice little position this week to really maximise both of these games against PSG.
Absolutely, yeah, they're a very good team. We'll get some score predictions and all that kind of stuff later on in the show. Before we do, I do want to bring up the rest of the Champions League fixtures that are happening in this round of 16. They start this evening, actually, at 5:45 UK time. Aston Villa in the last 16 of the Champions League for the first time, not the European Cup. I'm very much aware they've won this competition in the past. Aston Villa go to Bruges. The Madrid derby is 8 o'clock tonight, which again, I'm sure a lot of people will be keeping an eye on. PSV Arsenal as well. You got Dortmund against Lille, and then tomorrow you got Feyenoord Inter, Leverkusen at Bayern Munich, good game. Benfica, Barcelona, Liverpool at PSG. Let's make a start then, Jay, because obviously we know now if Liverpool get through this game against PSG, they play one of Bruges or Aston Villa. Be an interesting one to watch this evening. Like Bruges and Villa, actually two of the most surprise packages of the rounds. Really, Bruges just getting through and then getting through the last tie against a good side, and Villa finishing in the top 8 and getting a bye. Not going to be easy, but and again, not counting your head for the arch. If you said to me, get a Champions League quarter-final against one of those two, I think I'd be quite happy getting it.
That's our reward for finishing top. You know what I mean? That's where we go, right, there we go.
Yeah,
That's the reward. We get to play Simon Mignolet, who's 36 years of age, in a Champions League knockout tie, which sentence I never thought I'd say. You know, but that's your result. That's the motivation now, because you think to yourself, right, well, we are better than Villa and Bruges to get through to that, and it's another pathway to get closer to the final. So, yeah, that's our reward.
On our side of the draw is Real Madrid v Atletico as well. I'd hate to play either of them because for different reasons. But if Atletico can just knock Real Madrid out for me, please, Leah.
Yeah, I just don't trust them. I don't want to do it again.
We have felt both of the wrath of both of these teams in the past.
We have.
But Real Madrid more often. Like again, Atletico will be a tough side, but yeah, I think again I'd have to take Atletico to a great team. But I'm fed up with getting beat by Real Madrid. I know we beat them earlier in the season.
I feel like you only get one of them every now and then. I don't think we can do it twice.
No, it's true.
I don't back us to do it twice.
Yeah, I don't want to play Madrid at all. And I put either of them there. I don't like it. It's horrible. No. But we're due one. We are due one. Eventually.
Well, it might not be them. There's a world where it's PSV or Arsenal.
Correct, yeah.
On that, Jay, Arsenal will have been quite happy to get PSV. I think with all due respect to PSV, you know, again, they're harder draws to get. Look at Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Look at us. Look at, you know, Leverkusen, Bayern, etc. But Arsenal can't score goals. They're going to have to go away from home in Europe tonight. I think PSV will be seen as a massive opportunity against an Arsenal side who are, again, down on confidence. The fans are half turning a little bit now. They're all very angry at the board for not signing players in January. We saw PSV again. It was a change Liverpool squad and a little bit of change for PSV as well. But they have got goals in the team.
We know
that's a tough game for Arsenal, and especially this Arsenal who've got no goals in the team.
Yeah, I personally underrated PSV when we went there. I was like, we'll win this. We didn't, obviously. So if Arsenal are going to win that tie over 2 legs, the defence is going to win in that game, and they're going to sneak a goal. That's obvious.
Defence on set pieces. And,
yeah. You know, they're not going to just be free flowing, and their fans know that at the end of the day. Again, you know, with this Arsenal just in a different mindset at the minute, aren't they? It wouldn't surprise me if PSV go through over those 2 legs. It wouldn't surprise me.
If Arsenal had their full team, I'd agree. I'd be like, you'd fancy Arsenal. Yeah. PSV are no worse than like a West Ham or a Nottingham Forest, really. Yeah. You know, they're a good team who've got goals, and Arsenal, I go back to it, with no centre forward, whether it's Moreno up front or they play Trossard and Sterling, I watched the highlights of the Forest game. I watched the first half and then obviously switched over to Liverpool. They had a lot of ball possession in the final third of Forest and just had nothing. No. And against West Ham, it was even worse. They didn't create any chance, really. That is an interesting one for them, because this is meant to be a season where Mikel Arteta, you know, takes that final step. But there's no game that you give them a massive chance in now because they are really struggling to get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, like and Eindhoven may be one of the easier draws, but they're not by no means an easy draw. Like we struggled quite a bit against them in the end, but Arsenal are they're flagging now. They've absolutely run all of their players into the ground, and all their injuries, and then top of your fit players, they just look exhausted. They've got nothing left.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, who do you think's going through out of these ties then, Jay? I know it's only first legs. We've got another week to talk about this, but if you had to guess now, Bruges v Villa.
Villa.
The Madrid derby.
I'm going with my heart here. I want Atletico to go through. I want Madrid just.
The fact that it's in Atletico second in the Wanda.
I want them out. So I'm just gonna be positive mindset that Atletico are going to win.
Leah, PSV, Arsenal.
PSV.
So do I, you know. I thought I was going to be controversial there, but maybe we're all wrong there. Maybe groupthink might be wrong there, and Arsenal get themselves through. So they're the other games that on Liverpool side of the draw. Obviously, the other side of the draw with Dortmund.
You talk with bias.
We'll cross that bridge when you get to that.
Our side of the draw is like I'm picking those teams because they're the teams I want to play. You know, I think playing Villa in a Champions League tie would be great. I really do.
It'd be great, but
one occasion, it'd be tough, but one occasion.
Yeah, that'd be one of the hardest ones, I think.
It would, but I'd love it.
Yeah,
I think
it'd be great.
Yeah, it would.
I'm going to say I'm going to go for PSV as well. I think Bakayoko is the goal scorer for them, and obviously they are really struggling to score goals at Arsenal. Right then, that's them. That's our prediction for them. We need to get talk this game then. Finally, Jay, score prediction for PSG versus Liverpool. What if I offered you Liverpool lose by 1 goal now? Would you? I'm not sure you'd take it, but you'd be like, you know what? That isn't the worst result in the world.
Yeah, if that happened, you know, you're watching the game, you get frustrated. We miss a couple of chances, and we come away with 1-0. Like, right, it's not the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't go to bed and like not be able to sleep with it. I'd be sound.
And the fact that there's no away goals helps you there as well, because PSG don't come to Anfield, and all of a sudden you're chasing 3. It doesn't work like that no more. So that's
like
that's
Atletico
the opportunity.
Years ago, because when we lost 1-0 to Atletico a few years back, we were like, it's not the worst thing. We're getting back at Anfield, and we capitulated in that sort of final third of the game. So yeah, not the worst result in the world. I think a draw is probably what'll happen. I'd be made up if we win this game. Not saying that we can't, because we absolutely can, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did. But just cautiously, I'll be happy with the draw.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen?
I think there'll be 1 goal in it either way. I think we could either lose 1-0 or win 1-0. I can see there being loads of goals, but I can't see it being easy, and it could just so easily go either way.
Yeah, it's a tough game. If you said to me now, like, you get beat 2-1, I wouldn't say I'll take that, but I'd accept it if it happens, and I'd be like, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a goal away.
You never accept that, because like there's a world you can lose by 2 or 3 quite easy against. They're a really good team. I think tomorrow's going to be a draw, and I think that's fabulous for Liverpool.
Yeah.
If Liverpool can come back to Anfield just needing to win a game, and I go back to it without the away goals rule in place, it's a real massive advantage. So I think it's probably going to be 2-2 tomorrow night. And then come back to Anfield and then knock them out at Anfield is the hope, but we'll find out in due course. Let's have a little look. Yeah, boy, Gus, nice name. It says 2-2 as well. It's the same as me. Even being 1 down wouldn't be the worst. Stewart is going for Liverpool to win 2-0. Salah and Nunes. I mean, that would be an unbelievable result if that can happen, Stewart. I hope you're right and I am wrong. Sean thinks 1-1. So yeah, tough game. Just to let you guys know what is happening, obviously we will have the watch along for PSG versus Liverpool as well. The game kicks off at 8 o'clock. So we will be live an hour and 20 minutes before. So that's 6:40 p.m. UK time. You got Paul, Chris, and myself. Got yourselves involved in that one. If you want even more build up to the show, we've got the opposition preview coming out today. Dan spoke with French journalist Julien Laurens. If that's over on Redmen Plus. If you want to go over and have a free month of Redmen Plus, again, go to redmenplus.com. Use the code UMBU when you sign up. UMBU, Uncensored Match Build Up. You get it for this show. You can have it for free for the month. So go and check out all the amazing content over there. The build up to this game, the immediate reaction after it, and everything else we're doing in the build up to the League Cup final. We've got some specials that are getting recorded this week. I know Jay's going to be involved in that one as well. So do make sure you check all that good stuff out. Thanks to Jay. Thanks to Leah. Thanks to you guys. Go and check out that code. Yes, promo code UMBU when you sign up at redmenplus.com. And we'll catch you all next time. See you later, everybody.